Hi, I'm Jeremy Vaughn Clark, and welcome to the Rise Point podcast, where potential meets presence. I'm a speaker, author, and coach, and I help people go from invisible to undeniable and rise to the point the world can't afford to overlook. Because I believe we all have a rise point. The moment where hiding is no longer an option, and rising is the only way forward. And this podcast is all about finding your rise point. Today, I want to talk about a hard lesson I had, which was knowing your worth and never compromising. I remember that I used to be somebody who was very people-oriented in the way that I was actually people-pleasing and downplaying myself in order to make them more comfortable. And I would often do favors that I would get hired for just that, a favor. Knowing that my worth and what I would normally charge didn't align with what I was being asked to do. I'll give you an example. There was a service that someone had asked me to do once before, and they asked me, how much do you charge? When I gave them my number, they scoffed at it. They said, I can't possibly do that. You're out of your mind. Where did you even get that number? What they didn't realize was the years of preparation that took me to develop the skills that they wanted to hire me for was the reason for me coming up with that number. But I've always felt like I never had to explain that to anybody. But when they said that, the people pleaser within me had said, okay, well, what's your budget? And when they told me their budget, which was about a quarter of what I was asking for, I wanted to initially say no. But I felt like, you know what? I don't want to make this person mad. I don't want them to not like me, because I used to have a big issue with people just wanting to like me all the time. But what you learn over time is not everybody's going to like you. And when you learn that, you learn to have boundaries. So with this particular person, I took them up on their quarter offer from what I was asking for, and I was doing the service for them. And the things that they were asking for while I was doing the service were so tedious and way more than what they had paid for. I started to get filled with resentment and regret. And I actually started to get mad at the person that hired me for what they were asking me to do, which was way more than what I believed I was getting paid for. I started to feel like they were playing me, and, you know, how could they ask me to do this knowing what they're paying me is not enough? When the truth of the matter is, what they paid me was what I accepted. What they paid me was what I deemed my worth to be when I agreed to that number. I didn't have to agree to that, but I did it anyway. And because I did it anyway, it came with the frustration of feeling like I was worth way more, because my number in my head that I was coming into this with was higher. So that experience taught me that you never compromise your worth when you know the work that it takes to do what you do. You know the work that you put in to do that. And when the next opportunity came for someone to hire me for my skills, I gave them a number. They said, okay. And that was that. They didn't scoff at it. They saw the confidence in which I presented, and they took it. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I don't want to scare somebody off with the number that I have in my head. And what I would say to that is, it's not about scaring off anybody. It's about eliminating who cannot afford you or who's not for you, and attracting those who are willing to be paying for your service. Those who really want you will find you and pay accordingly. So knowing your worth is going to be very important for anybody that's going through business or life, to not compromise on what you know you bring to the table. Thank you for watching the Rise Point podcast. If this episode touched you in any kind of way, please share it to somebody who needs it. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.